Is school reform dead? Should we throw up our hands and admit we can't consistently design the schools and districts we need? I'm Karen Hawley-Miles, and we at ERS say no.
One principal said, I know the rules didn't go away, but they just don't seem as painful now, which is good.
We've learned so much over the past 20 years, as much from what hasn't worked as from what has. And we're seeing school districts make strides, accelerating learning for every child across more than just a few schools. Tulsa Public Schools, for example, is in their third year of redesign. They're centered around a single strategic priority of improving instruction by creating effective professional learning for teachers. This is about changing the way that teachers work in schools. In this audio story, we explore how Tulsa's central office departments collaborated to provide comprehensive, useful feedback to principals on their school plans. Instead of acting as separate compliance checkers, they're a team of strategic partners for each school, helping them to push forward and move in bigger ways than they might ordinarily do. Listen and be inspired by the messy, often unsexy work of district and school redesign. In the past, Tulsa's review of school plans focused narrowly on compliance within each central department, which resulted in disconnected feedback to schools. As Tulsa schools began redesigning to enable teachers' professional learning, they needed really different support from the central office. Now, TPS brings together all of the relevant district offices to provide joint feedback to principals that's much more connected to school needs.
My name is Carisha Solomon, and I am the proud principal at Hawthorne Elementary.
Principal Carisha was in the first cohort trying out this new process.
Before the cohort, you just kind of did it alone as an administrator, but now it's you may be meeting with someone from allocation, you may be meeting with someone from title, you may be, so many people have access to what you do and why.
She remembers at first, it was an adjustment.
When I met with my talent management strategist, she had my plan up. She's like, I'm looking at your plan. And that was the first time something like that has been referenced. And, during my time. And I was like, oh, I didn't know this many people would be looking at the plan,
But having all those people involved means Principal Carisha has all of the information she needs to truly plan strategically.
It's helpful to the schools. It genuinely does make a huge difference to have all of the puzzle pieces at the same time so they can put together what they need to get their plan done.
That's Jill Hendricks. She's the Executive Director of Federal Programs and Special Projects for Tulsa Public Schools. The new feedback system brings together leaders from Jill's Federal Programs Office with district teams like Teaching and Learning, Budget, and Talent. Together, they review schools' strategic plans and build consensus around the feedback they provide to school leaders. Jill sees what a difference it makes, and it's a big improvement from before.
The schools received information from several different departments, all at different times of the year. So they would get their Title I allocation, and then maybe a couple of weeks later they would get their discretionary general fund allocation. And then a couple weeks later they would get their staffing allocation, so they knew which teachers they were going to have. And then they would get their different bond allocations. And every single one of those resources, whether it was people or money, required a separate plan of some kind to be completed. So different plans, different timelines. It was very chaotic for everyone, really.
Now, with all the feedback gathered at once, it makes it easier for principals to manage the rules of the district.
One principal said, I know the rules didn't go away, but they just don't seem as painful now, which is good.
All of a sudden, the unwanted compliance activity became part of a welcomed, wider strategic planning process.
And so having federal programs at the heart of that was really awesome. Somebody had a great idea when they thought of that, because we have things that we have to do just to meet law, federal law, state law. So having federal programs at the heart of it allowed us to start with the basics and then build from there to meet all of the needs of the schools and the district.
Jill recalls how multiple district teams met to align on feedback on school plans and then met with principals to discuss the feedback and how the district could best support them.
So the principals could come in, and there were tons of district staff there to help, and the feedback on that was amazing, and even the district staff really enjoyed the time with the principals, but also just learning about what the other teams do, because we were in such terrible strong silos that we didn't even quite realize how all the pieces fit together at a district level.
District staff get a much better understanding of the bigger picture.
So it was really awesome. It was very good because it gave the district that visibility into the decisions that schools have to make and how hard it can be sometimes, because our schools are very needy and they do have to come up with those trade-offs and prioritize resources, and it's heartbreaking, and it really brings perspective, I think, to the district.
Instead of planning happening silo by silo with schools caught in the middle of conflicting demands, district and school leaders are on the same team. This means that when Principal Carisha gets feedback, she knows it's comprehensive and takes into account everything she needs to consider.
And so I can tell that the direction that we're going in is just a direction of better alignment. And so I'm really happy to know that those things are happening.
Bringing these district demands together in one place transforms Jennifer Capato's job as an instructional leadership director. She's had many roles at Tulsa Public Schools, including teacher and principal. Now, as an instructional leadership director, she supports several principals. The new system makes a huge difference in how efficient she can be.
What I've found is the biggest shift in the work that I currently do is that the departments and the paperwork has all been collapsed into a single platform that I can locate the information efficiently and quickly.
Instead of spending time pulling things together and making sure schools are complying with various regulations, Jennifer feels like she can really be a strategic partner. If you're thinking that bringing together all of the district offices that influence school planning would be hard, you're right. Jill Hendricks describes the investment.
It will be a lot of hard work, but it's absolutely worth it. It's very much a time-intensive process in the beginning, and you really do have to have all of the various teams involved. It would not have worked if it was just me, federal programs, trying to sit down and wrangle everything. It's truly a team effort, and everyone has to be involved and play their part.
It takes leadership and commitment, but we've seen that it results in real strategic plans, aligned with resources that more effectively move toward the goals school leaders urgently want to meet. You can find the tools Tulsa used to make these changes on our website. We have case studies and links to the actual tools, including calendars, scheduling prototypes, and planners. And be sure to also listen to our mini-pod on transforming the planning process to hear how they actually got to this place of cross-departmental feedback.
We kept saying, do a plan, do a good plan, but didn't really define what a good plan was or even make it easy for schools to do a good plan.
So Tulsa took clear, targeted action, and now schools have real strategic plans that keep getting better every year. Thanks so much to Jill, Jennifer, Carisha, and all of the committed educators in Tulsa Public Schools that are making this transformation happen. It gives us hope and energy to keep working with district leaders on redesigning schools and school systems so that every child in every school is ready for tomorrow.